In my mind, the Xbox Series X is a mini PC boxed by Xbox and has some level of openness to it. This is one of the reasons I got it. Once I found out that Xbox sold you a console, and if one day you decided to get ambitious and become a developer or a wannabe developer like your boy here, that console could be converted into a development kit. To me, I thought it was probably one of the most pro consumer things that you can find, especially from a player and developer standpoint. So I was looking at this and I said to myself, maybe I'll probably have this console be like a travel laptop or a travel build with me because it can fit in my backpack. And yeah, it's bulky, it's heavy, but I'm not too fond of laptops. I don't know what it is with them. I'd rather carry a small form factor mini ITX build with me. And I gotta say, maybe this Series X might just be it. And I'll just plan, accordingly. Maybe play, Mortal Kombat. Thankfully, you can play, cross progression on your, game, whatever it is. But this video is not really about that, to be honest. I just was, seeing someone's comment. I thought, man, this is actually interesting. Legato99 said, despite the price increase, it looks like Xbox is doing what the gamers should be supporting with a variety of games. I bought Expedition 33 a day after I contemplated trading in my Series X for the Switch 2. But then I learned that, the game was on Game Pass. Interesting. This game was at the showcase, but I think, again, if it's not a brand name, it's easy to go away. And then he said, I refunded the Steam game and got it on Game Pass. Good times. The reality is, Legato 99, Xbox already paid for that game to an extent so that you could play at a subsidized fee or have the option to play at a subsidized fee. That's exactly what's going on here. It doesn't mean that, you didn't make a better purchasing decision. In fact, I think you made a much more financially savvy decision. You got to keep the Xbox. You looked at a Nintendo Switch and said, hold on. You mean to tell me I'm going to go out there and buy me, a $80 game when Nintendo decides that they want to give me their own exclusives, while Xbox is over here pretty much cooking and giving us games that, they've already kind of paid for and subsidized what we can get in a subscription service? I think your, choice was based on what you felt was the better benefit. Was it the best choice? You felt it was. So, hey, you executed on that level. But here's the cool and important thing here is the important thing is that there was an incentive for you to actually maintain and keep that Xbox console compared to possibly going to buy yourself a Nintendo Switch 2. Now, you can still buy yourself a Nintendo Switch 2, and you more than likely will because there was already something that was probably, inciting you to go get the Nintendo Switch 2, possibly their games, but it's no longer the days when you can just easily go ahead and just say, forget the Xbox console. Now, take that same frame of mind and see where Xbox is probably visualizing themselves and saying, yo, we got a console that is actually valuable, a console that has made, in your case, Legato 99, actually rethink the possibility of going out there to basically going to buy another platform and, trade your Xbox in to do so. But now, the Xbox is not that easy to trade in. See it again. You said, I contemplated trading in my Series X for the Switch 2, which would have easily bought it because the Series X's trading, I think, is around 400 and something at GameStop, and you could have just, gone ahead and just done an equal trade, not spent a single dollar. However, the hidden cost was going to be what you now had to run a comparison on, and that hidden cost changed your outlook, especially when there was a game that caught your attention that was going on Game Pass. So, from a console perspective, even I myself, who would also tell you that, the console may not be the thing I recommend, even though I have them. And it's crazy. I don't know why I wouldn't recommend anything other than the Series S. I don't know why. I guess it's the cost. I'm all about, if you're going to buy a console where they're going to be taking money from you on the back end, might as well get in for a very low cost, if you get what I mean. Buy a used Series S or something, or maybe you can cop one of them that's still at the MSRP or the suggested price. Or during the vacations and holidays, you can buy yourself one that's been discounted. And you'll realize that this is probably one of the crazy things that you'll see Xbox has probably started to do. This, situation as well that we're looking at also ties into the conversation that was had here on this PlayStation Plus subreddit. I don't know if you guys remember the one where somebody was talking about the difference in quality between Game Pass and whatchamacallit, PlayStation Plus. Interesting, because in this particular subreddit, it came out that, somewhere, somehow, this person said, anyone extremely jealous between the difference in quality between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus recently? Game Pass, just this past week, got Expedition 33 and Oblivion. They made this post on the 20 somethings of last month, 8 days ago. Yeah, 8 days ago. And they said, I believe they're getting the new Doom game on release as well. So again, Legato 99, I think what you're looking at was like, man, hold on. This is what you saw. You were on your own. You were sitting there, right? And, you were sitting under an apple tree like Isaac Newton. And what happened was you got an epiphany. That's what happened. Something, an apple fell off the tree and whacked you in the head. And you were like, wait, hold on. You mean to tell me that I have right now an Xbox console, which if I spend, and then I have a Nintendo Switch console here, right? Your very first Nintendo game that you're going to buy out the bat, if you're not buying only the Mario Kart game, if you buy the bundle, I can't remember exactly how much it is, but let's just say you're going to buy, another Nintendo game, and they say come pay $80. And you have your Xbox console right here. And then they say, well, pay $80. What do you get for $80 on both sides? Right now on Game Pass, $20 a month, 4 months of Game Pass. If you go for Ultimate, right? Let's just say 4 months of Game Pass. And in the 4 months of Game Pass, what you have access to is Doom, the Dark Ages, right? Doom, you have Expedition 33, E33. You also have access. Hold on, let's just look at the list. This should not be a guessing game. You have South of Midnight. Now let's just call this what are we going to call this? Mario Kart World, if you don't buy the bundle, or whatever $80 game Nintendo wants to sell to you. I mean, I don't know what the heck they're selling. I don't play Nintendo games. It is what it is, man. After the Mortal Kombat days on the Super Nintendo, and actually the Nintendo 64, that was it. What else do you get access? Oh, Oblivion Remastered. Give me that Oblivion Remastered, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even have anywhere to put games. Goodness. Oblivion Remastered, if you're down with that kind of game, by the way. And I know, Expedition 33 is probably for someone in your case, a turn-based game. A lot of people that love the old school Final Fantasy turn-based games are playing this. So Oblivion Remastered, you've already outclassed your value for that $80. Now, you don't own the digital licenses like you would, but $80 for one digital license compared to $80 for access to not just one, but at least 12 possible, digital licenses for these games for 4 months. To me, I think that proposition was probably much more attractive to you, seeing as at the end of the day, anyways, if you wanted to own them, you might want to go ahead and do a good old game style thing anyways, where you own a downloadable, ROM, or you go out of your way and still spend money to buy yourself a physical copy, of which, even with that, there's still some DRM that goes with it. So this value proposition right now that we've been talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is starting to manifest. People are starting to look at their wallets. They're starting to look at the cost across the board. And Game Pass just holds such a heavy value that it's weighing on the minds of people. So now, Legato 99, if there are other games on Xbox's ecosystem that you want to play, they're going to create some kind of a pressure against your purchase of that Nintendo Switch. Unless, of course, you go ahead and just shell out the money separately to get a Nintendo Switch, or you have another means to play the Xbox games and you can trade your console in and then get the Switch and still have access to Game Pass, which I guess between you and Xbox, you will both call it a win-win. Wanted to go ahead and talk about that. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you all so much. Peace out.